This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good Erev Shabbos. It's Parshas Vayeira, and we're going to go to the beginning of the Parsha, where the V'hinei Shloisha Anoshim, you have the three men. And of course we know these were not just three men, these were three malachim. And Rashi says, why was it necessary for three malachim to come to Abraham? It says Rashi, Echad levaser es Sarah, one to give Sarah the report that she was going to have a child. V'echad lahapoich es Sidon, one to overturn the city of Sidon. V'echad l'rapois es Abraham, and one to heal Abraham. Why can't one malach do all three? Like one malach come, tell Sarah, you're going to have a kid, turn over Sidon, heal Abraham. She'ein malach echad oiseh shtei shlichos. One malach cannot do two jobs. What's the proof? Teda shekain shekol kol haparsha hu maskiran b'lashon rabim. The whole parsha talks about them in rabim. Vayochlu, they ate. Vayomrav, they said. Ubebesura nemar. But when it comes to telling Sarah she's going to have a kid, it says Vayomer. He said. What do you mean he? They all ate. Why only he? Shavash v'alecha. And by the overturning of Sidon, he said, I can't do it. What do you mean I? Teretz is, one malach cannot do more than one job. Rashi just said, then one malach came to heal Abraham. So then who saved light? The Raphael, Sharipa is Abraham. Now Rashi for the first time identifies the name of one of these malachim. Raphael, who healed Abraham. Halach misham, he went from there, lahatzel esloit, to save light. Hu shenemar, vahi kaitziam oisam hachutza, vayoymer, he said, himoira nafshecha. So we learn out that one of them saved.
So how could that mal?
Okay. Good kasha. Good kasha.
Two separate jobs.
Good job. Good question. Let's just talk about first this Inyan, that one malach. We have very limited time so let's try to go through this. Let's talk about this Inyan, that one malach cannot do two jobs. This is expressly spoken about enunciated in the Bereshis Rabbah. If you look in the Medrash, it says, V'hu be'echad umi yeshivenu v'nafsha yivsa vayoas. Tani ein malach echad oiseh shtei shlichos. One malach can't do two jobs.
At the same time, in the same place.
Why not? Why not? I could do two jobs. Why can't a malach do two jobs?
I'll tell you why.
Why can't a malach? Why can a malach not do two jobs? So the Sifsei Chachamim brings down, in number 3, the reason is, it's to show the greatness of God. That He has innumerable, uncountable number of angels. Ein mispar legedudav. You can't count how many servants God has. He has millions and billions of malachim. And the concept is, like we say in the Beis Hamikdash and in the Mishkan, ein anios b'makam ashiros. In a place of great wealth, you don't want to display poverty. So, just like a very wealthy man, he has the butler, the baker. Why? To show his great wealth, to show his majesty. He has people who specialize at different tasks to show the greatness of the Rebbe Shalom. One malach does not do more than one job. Now, the Goraria brings down this explanation also, that it's not covered for Hashem to have one malach do two things, as if to say, like, God is, He's low on staff. Right? He has a low staff. He's trying to cut corners, save money. Okay. But Lamaisa, the Maral gives a much deeper pshat. And that is, in general, we know the Gemara in Chagiga tells us that there are certain malachim, they're created, they sing Shira, Vizehu, and then they're finished, they're done. Right? Kaput, that's the end of them. Right? The Gemara says, Kol yoyma v'yomer evram malachi ashois min nahar dinar. Every day God creates angels from Nahar Dinar, v'yomer Shira, ubatli, and they're gone. How do we understand that? So Maral,
which is the Maharal?
So the Maral explains in number 5. The Goraria explains.
Goraria is Maharal.
The Goraria is the Maral super commentary on Rashi. The Goraria explains like this. He's not explaining the Gemara in Chagiga per se, but Rav Hutner uses this Goraria to explain the Gemara in Chagiga. And as the Goraria says, that what is a malach? What's a malach? A malach's not a person. A malach's not an angel with wings. A malach is created to do a mission. That's his entire mitzias. That's his entire entity. He has no other entity other than that task that he was created for. So as soon as the malach sings Shira, it's not that God comes and takes a knife and cuts the head off the malach. He disintegrates because he did what he is. It's not that God created him for a mission. His mission is him. That's who he is. A malach is his mission. So of course a malach can't do one.
That we had a malach to sing Shiva to himself. Isn't that? Well, how do all have those arrogant?
No.
You want to create malachim to hear them sing Shiva about the person who created them?
But that's the understanding of what a malach is. A malach is not an entity that happens to have a mission. Shh. Rabbi say. A malach is, says the Gorari, Perish Tam Adav, Shini Malach Hu Hashlichos. A malach is a messenger. Ulakach Nikra Malach. Malach means shlichus. And the name of the malachim is according to their shlichus. It's not that, now that my mission is finished, now I have no purpose. It is, I am my mission. And when the mission is over, there is no I am anymore. Because the mission is what the malach is. Okay, so we have two explanations for this concept that ein malach echad oisa shtei shlichuyos. Either because we want to show the greatness of God as if there's no end to his staff, or number two, the malach is his mission. As soon as the mission is over, what? The malach doesn't exist anymore.
What about Raphael? He's around all the time.
So the problem is what?
The
problem is Rashi is contradicting himself. Why? Because if a malach cannot do more than one task, so then Rashi says that the malach that came to heal Abraham, he was the one who saved light. Now, if you look in the Medrash, number 2, the Medrash doesn't say one word about Raphael's healing Abraham. All Raphael's job was to save light. But very interesting, Rashi says the malach that healed Abraham went on later to save light. Well, wait a second. I thought a malach can't do more than one job.
According to saving, the power to save is one function. One is one. It's one and the same.
Okay. So you want to say healing and saving is one job. Okay, let's see.
According to the Medrash, who healed Avraham?
Raphael.
It doesn't say.
The Medrash doesn't say anybody healed Abraham.
So how did he get healed?
What? The platelet. Who healed him? The platelet cells.
The word is Raphael. God healed him.
Very good.
Okay. Okay, but the Tosfos says in Bava Metzia, Tosfos is bothered by this question, that if in fact the malach cannot do more than one job, how could the malach go ahead and what? Heal Abraham and rescue life? So says Tosfos, the Tema. Look at number 7. Amrina beBreishis Rabbi, the malach echad oiseh shtei shlichos. V'yesh lomar, dekan lo yasa Michael b'shlichos achas. Michael did not do in one shlichos. Ki yemais echad, only one thing. Shabi Sarah, he notified Sarah, Shahalach Misham L'Staim, when he went to Staim, Oz Huschala Shlichas Acheres. Then it was another Shlichas. V'dafka b'machayin echad ein oiseh. This rule, now by the way, Tosfos learns that it wasn't Raphael who healed Abraham that saved light. It was Michael, who is Mevaser Sarah, he's the malach that went to save light. But what Tosfos is saying is, Tosfos wants to know how could he do two things. The answer is the rule that a malach cannot do two things is in two places he can't do two things. But in one place he can't do two things. But if the malach is sent to one place, so that's his mission now. Then maybe he disintegrates or he's over battle, and then God sends him on a new mission. The rule is a malach can't do two things in one place, but in two different places it's not a problem. However, now Tosfos quotes the Medrash we just read, that it wasn't Michael who saved light, it was Raphael that saved light. Breishis Rabbi Yesher Fall Balahatzilas light. Urefuas Avram in an Eskeres. It doesn't say anything in the Medrash that any malach healed Abraham. Abraham. Even if you want to say Raphael who healed Abraham saved light, it's considered one mission. Why? The refuah v'hatzala inyan echad. Healing and saving, it's all one.
It's one function.
What does that mean, it's all one?
It's two different people.
What does that mean, it's all one? So the way I learned in second grade was, look, it's all coming for being nice. It's all, helping. You're healing, you're saving. He's a helping malach. When we say a malach can't do two jobs, is he can't do two contradictory. He can't destroy Sodom and heal Abraham. He can't be Mavasar Sarah and destroy Sodom. But healing Abraham, saving light, it's all under the general umbrella of helping. However, that may not be the pshat. The pshat may be the following. The Chassam Sofer says like this.
What's Oyel Moshe?
Now, I don't believe this is printed anywhere in the Chassam Sofer, but they say it is. So if
Who's they?
well, we'll put it this way: it's printed in the Oyel Moshe, and the Oyel Moshe, I believe, heard someone say it over, but I don't know if it's actually in print. But since Oyel Moshe wrote the Chassam Sofer said it, I put it on the sheet. Oyel Moshe is Rabbi Scheinerman, PN 24th. Flatbush. But if you don't know where he heard it from, I'll tell you after. But the Chassam Sofer says, the Chassam Sofer supposedly writes that, no, the job was healing Abraham. But if Abraham is going to hear that his nephew Lot turned into a pillar of salt or something like that, he's going to relapse. So in order for Abraham to have a refuah shalema, he has to heal Abraham, and he has to protect Abraham from bad news. So what does he got to do? Right? Would you have a kasha? How could Rafal heal Abraham and bring Abraham Neosporin? No, it's he's healing. Would you have a kasha? How could he heal Abraham and bring him an extra band-aid? So he healed Abraham and he rescued Lot, because if Lot's going to perish, Abraham's going to have a relapse. Okay, that's what the
Abraham know that Lot was saved.
What?
I don't know.
Internet. No. Anyway, he would find out. He would see the smoke, right? Abraham saw the smoke rising.
Everybody knew that Lot had intercourse with his
Okay.
wife.
Anyway, the Chassam Sofer writes like this. Where you see the Chassam Sofer, Shabir, Kiinyan Hatzalas Light, Haisa Rafula Abraham Gufa. Saving light was a refuah to Abraham. Kim Hayir Shemei Abraham Shenisba Achiv. If Abraham would have heard that his nephew was perished, he wouldn't have been able to deal with that. If he's there, refuah Abraham, it's all one Inyan. It's all the healing of Abraham. Okay. There's an amazing pshat that is brought down in the Mayana Shel Torah. Alexander Zusha Friedman, who was my great-grandfather's chavrusa in Yeshiva Chachmei Lublin. So this is brought down number 9. He writes like this: when Rav Shlomo Kluger was Rav, so the first time they offered the Rav Shlomo Kluger Sandakas, by the way, Rav Shlomo Kluger was known as one of the greatest all-time Rabbanim, one of the most prolific writers of all time. He has Sfarim, 500 pages on each Parsha. Not on each Sefer Bar Bereshis. He has on Parshas Bereshis, Parshas Ma. In Yeshiva Chavos they have about 15 Sfarim, going from Bereshis until Parshas Vayeira. Okay? Anyway, when the Beis Halevi wanted to learn Rabbanis, they sent him to Shlomo Kluger. Anyway, Shlomo Kluger, it's his first day on the job, he's appointed the Tzaddik, he comes to the bris, and he hears that the father of the Rachanimo is a Goises. And they want to wait around till the father dies. Why? They want a name. So the Shlomo Kluger says, no, quickly do the bris. Quickly do the bris. So what's the problem? Why should we quickly do the bris? He said like this. He said that Rashi tells us in Parshas Vayeira that the Malach that healed Abraham saved Lot. So he says to Shlomo Kluger, why couldn't Hashem bring one Malach to save Abraham and another Malach to save Lot? After all, one Malach can't do two jobs. Apparently, Lot was not worthy to have his own Malach sent for him. But once anyway the Malach was in the neighborhood and he was healing Abraham, so he didn't have to make a special stop for Lot. Lot was not worthy for Hashem to send him a special angel. But once the Malach anyway was in the neighborhood, he could quickly run another errand. So too, said Rav Shlomo Kluger, this father, apparently, for Eliyahu Navi to come and heal the father, maybe the father's not right. But if anyway the Malach is here anyway because he's at the bris, so maybe he'll just open up the door in the next room and see the father there, and Agavorcha, he'll hail the father. That's what Rav Shlomo Kluger learned from this Rashi. In other words, it's not that Hashem could not send another Malach to save Lot, but maybe Lot was not right to have a special Malach come to save him. But Agavorcha, when the Malach was in the neighborhood, once he went to Abraham's house, the Malach came and rescued Lot. That's what he says over here. Look at number 9.
But Lot had to be saved because he was the ancestor of Mashiach. So he had to be saved because he had
Okay, we'll get to that.
Was the father saved?
We'll come to that. Beloit, Makshim HaMafarshim, Emein Malach Ois Shtei Shlichus, Madu Eifel L'Neshalach Malach Miyucha Kedei L'Hatzal Slid. Why didn't we save a special Malach? Why didn't Hashem send a special Malach to save light? Kasher Olah Hagon Rav Shlomo Kluger Kisei Rabbanos Bebrod. When Rav Shlomo Kluger became the Rav in Brod, the first day on the job, he ready was the sandik. He heard the father of the kid was, atat. The custom was they wanted the minhag was we'll wait till the father dies and we'll name the kid after the father. He said, let's get the minyan. Satina can do the mila right away. What happened? Immediately after the bris, the father stood up. He was as good as new, and everyone started spreading rumors. Shlomo Kluger is about Meifus, yeah. Moving Kikoli Arnas about this Bekesha Meifus. Rav Shlomo goes, look, I'm not about Meifus. What? I'm not about Meifus. I learned it from Rashi. Because as we asked, there are not enough malachim in Shemayim for Hashem to send one malach to heal Avram, one malach to save Lot. Must be the schus of Lot was not so great to send him a special malach. So Hashem said, you know what? Once the malach's already in the neighborhood, turn to light and save him. Look in the last paragraph. Probably this father did not have enough sechusim for Eliyahu Navi to come and make a special visit to his house. Therefore, if we do the milah right away, and Eliyahu Navi is in the hall, so he could just open up the door, and Agavorcha he'll hail the father. Comes along Chidush Harim. Chidush Harim says an amazing thing. And that is, like Mr. Zalkin said, why was Lot saved? In the schus of
David HaMelech.
Why was Lot saved in the schus of David? Because David, after all, was a descendant of Lot. Because Lot lived with his daughter, they produced Moav, and comes along David HaMelech. Now I have a question for you. This is amazing. What do you mean David? But David came from Moav. Lo yavai Moavi b'kal Hashem. How is David kosher? Because only a male Moavi can come, but the female Moavis could come. Why is that true? Why is it that we don't let the men come, but we let the females come?
They're the ones that didn't want to.
Because the males should have what? Brought us out bread and water when we were passing through their land. So the Gemara asks, okay, the women should have also done that.
No,
why not? Ein derech ish lekadem. Women, the Gemara in Yevamos Ayin Vav says, women do not come out. Right? Why? Kol kvuda bas melech penima.
Women should stay home.
Women should stay home in the house. Yeah?
except when you have Shiva tuition.
However, I have a question for you. How do we know women are supposed to stay inside?
Sarah stayed inside.
Because the Malachei Ashares asked Avram, Aye Sarah Ishtecha, where is that woman? And what does Avram say? Hinehi ba'ayal. So the Malachim see, until the Malachim came to Avraham's house, they're not allowed to save light. Why not? Because David HaMelech was apostle. Why is David HaMelech apostle? Because the men should have come out, and the women should have come out. But now that the Malachim see from Sarah that women are allowed to stay indoors, and that's the proper thing for them, so now light can be rescued. Now that light could be rescued, now the Malach goes to save light. In other words, you know why the Malach had to first go to the house of Abraham? So that the halacha should be established that women are in the tent. Hinehi ba'ayal. Aye Sarah ishtecha, hinehi ba'ayal. Women are in the tent, now we could save light. But until we see this practice that the tzaddikas is ba'ayel, light can't be saved because David HaMelech is a puzzle. So I once heard, I never saw it inside, in the name of the Megala Amukos, David HaMelech says, Esa inay al haharim, I lift up my eyes, may I in Yova Yezri, where did my help come from? Esa is Rashi Tevos. You know where my help comes from? Aye, Sarah, Ishtecha. That's where my help comes from. From the fact, where was Sarah? Ba'ayel, Esa inay, Aye, Sarah, Ishtecha. Okay. Let's move on. Okay? Here's a major question. 3 Malachim come to Avram's house. Yeah? So let's see what their names were now. Now we know their names. Michael is the Malach Sharachamim. Yeah? Michael gave Sarah the report she's going to have a child. Do we understand what Michael was doing at Sarah's house? Yeah. Raphael, he heals Abraham, he saves light. Do we understand what Raphael was doing at Abraham's house? Yeah. But Gavriel, the Malach of Din, he's supposed to destroy Sodom.
So what's he doing there?
What's he doing at Avram's house? He was hungry. No, I mean, what's he doing? What's he doing?
It was a Hampton Inn.
What's he doing? I thought a Malach could only do one job. What's he deviating? Go to Sodom. Go to Sodom. And you could even ask further, Rashi, look at the order of Rashi, Rabbi Isai. Rashi says 3 Malachim. 1 to be Mavaser Sarah, 1 to overturn Sodom, and 1 to heal Abraham. I mean, if anything, the one that's supposed to destroy Sodom, either he should be mentioned last. What does he need to do, go at the house to Abraham's house?
According to the Chadisha Rim, it's for Amfred. Because we have to know first if Lloyd has to be...
No, but he's destroying Sodom.
He's destroying Sodom.
But he can't destroy Sodom before Lot gets out.
So go to Sodom, wait until the Malach says, what's he doing in Abraham's house?
Just to help the Jews.
He was hungry.
Pesach. He wanted.
That's what we said. We said that teretz
He
already.
wanted to eat matzah.
Maybe he thought.
He got matzah in Lot's house.
Wait a minute. Abraham was going to possibly pray to Hakadosh Baruch Hu to save Sodom.
Oh, okay. Not bad. Not bad.
Until Abraham gave up, he wasn't 100% that he was going to be Mahapet Sodom.
Good. We'll see. We'll get to something. Oh, yeah, good. Rabbi Cheskel Abramsky, look at number 13, he says a beautiful pshat. And that is, if you remember, in Bereshis, when God created man, the Malach Yesharis said, what are you creating man? Why? Ma enosh ki siskarenu. Who is this guy? You know, they have a Yetzirah, they're Bali Taiva. So now Hashem comes and he wants to destroy the city of Sodom. So what do the Malachim say? We told you. What are you Yeah? We told you. I mean, God, what do you want from these people? Ki yetzer leiv ha'adam ra'aminu urav. You want to destroy the people of Sodom? Das is a mensch. This is what people are. So God says, you don't think I should destroy Sodom? You think this is what a mensch is? Go to Abraham's house. Go take a look at what a person could be. Then you'll understand why you need to destroy Sodom. In other words, the Malachim said, destroy Sodom. Oh man, that's what a human being is. They're all rotten to the core. They're all bad. They're all Bali Taiva. They're all selfish. Hashem said, oh no. You have any tightness on what I'm doing? First take a look at Abraham. When you see Abraham, you'll understand why we have to destroy Sodom. And that's why, says Rabbi Cheskel Abramsky, it's a meduyuk in the pasuk. Because look in Parak Yud Ches, pasuk Tezayin, Vayakumu misham ha'anashim. They got up from Abraham, Vayashkifu al pnei Sodom, and then they looked to destroy Sodom. In other words, after they saw what Abraham is, and they say, yeah, Taka, man is not so rotten to the core, we understand why Abraham has to be punished. By the way, but this is not just Rabbi Cheskel Abramsky, this is Meduyuk in the Sfarno. Look at number 14. The Sfarno says, Vayakumu misham anoshim vayishru al pnei Sodom. They got it from Abraham's house. They look at Sodom. Shahaya hepech beisay shel Abraham. Sodom was the opposite of Abraham. Because Abraham's house was full of hachnasas arachim. And Sodom, why was Sodom destroyed? Yaroni ve'evyon lo hachzika. They didn't get tzedakah.
Rabbi, you have a kasha.
So what's the Sfarno saying? Why is the Sfarno telling us that Sodom was the opposite of Abraham? Who cares if it's the opposite of Abraham? What does that got to do with anything? It's the Torah telling us, why was Sodom destroyed? Because you have an Abraham, look what you could be, look what you could have become. And you're not? So now you weren't to be destroyed.
So why in Pasuk Chavbeis the Pasuk tells us Vayifnu Misham Anoshim Vayachistoma? So when we ask the question, we know what Raphael was there for. We know what Michael was there for. What did Raphael and Michael have to do? Go to Sodom? They had nothing to do with Sodom.
So Raphael had to go to save light. Okay. Michael, Taka didn't go.
So Vayifnu Misham Anoshim.
Only
Two of them.
Only two.
Oh, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say Shnei Anoshim.
It says Anoshim.
The same Anoshim that came to Abraham.
It says Shnei Anoshim.
No.
Two.
Yeah. Yeah, only two of them. Only two.
Rashi
says.
You don't need Rashi.
Now you ready for this? Now you gotta help cut for this next teretz. What? Why did Gavriel, who destroyed Sodom, why did he go to Abraham's house? You ready? This is the answer of the Gur Aryeh, who is the Maral. We know that Gavriel cannot destroy. Okay, again, question number one is, why did Gavriel, who destroyed Sodom, go to Abraham's house? Another question is, Rashi says that Raphael, who saved light, healed Abraham. How does Rashi know that? The Medrash doesn't say Raphael healed Abraham. The Medrash just says Raphael saved light. Maybe Hashem healed Abraham. Maybe Abraham took, special Mila medication. How do you know Raphael healed Abraham? Doesn't say that anywhere. Says the Maral.
Otherwise, why would that Malach have gone to Abraham's house? What was his purpose of being there?
Who said he did?
Shlosh Anoshim. The word in Abraham went to Abraham's house. Yes? So there definitely were three. So if that were the case, what were they doing there?
Why did you need three people?
Yeah. They were all there.
How do you know there were three? Okay. But how do you know he was healing Abraham?
I don't know. Well, then it was at three. What was
maybe he came, to...
He came along for the ride.
It says here,
maybe he came along just like the one who turned over Sodom, Gavriel.
Reasoning.
Maybe just like Gavriel, he came over.
So listen to this. So the Gorariah says, listen to this very carefully. Why did Gavriel, who destroyed Sodom, have to go to Abraham's house? So like this. Gavriel was not able to destroy Sodom until one thing happened.
Abraham said it was okay.
No, until light was saved. Right? He said, I can't destroy the city until light is saved. So that means Gavriel can't do his job until Raphael heals, until Raphael saves light. That means Gavriel and Raphael are attached at the hip. They're connected. Gavriel is dependent on Raphael. So fine.
But he could have gone right.
1 second. So let Gavriel wait with Raphael. Let Gavriel wait till Raphael saves light and then destroys Sodom. No. But this Malach that Gavriel is dependent on must have had a job in Abraham's house. What was that job? To heal Abraham. So now Rashi figures out, since Gavriel wasn't allowed to destroy Sodom until light is saved, so it must be what? That Gavriel was dependent on Raphael. It must be then Raphael had to do something in Abraham's house. What was that? Heal Abraham. So Gavriel had to be there also. Why? Because Gavriel is dependent on Raphael. But you'll say, but Raphael had no business in Abraham's house. So from here, from the fact that it says Shlosh Anoshim, Rashi derives what? That Raphael must have had a job in Abraham's house. So you want to know why Gavriel had to be there? Because Gavriel was dependent on Raphael. That's what the Maral says. Another important idea. This is offered by the Sukkot David, and it's also brought down by Reb Leib Gorowitz. It's called in the Pninim al Mishulchan Gavaya, and they both say the same thing. We know Rebbeinu Shalom comes to visit Abraham. V'hu Yoshev. The Rashi says it's spelled Yashav. What did Abraham want to do when Rebbeinu Shalom came? He wanted to get up. God said, sit! And this will be a model to Dayanim. That the Dayanim will sit, and God will stand. Like the Pasuk says, Elokim Nitzav V'Adaskel. So Hashem said, Avram, you sit, and I'll stand, and this will be like Dayanos. Dayanos. Avram Avinu is in his pajamas. It's on the third day of his Milah. He's recovering, and this little greeting that God has with Avram is going to be the way Dayanim look like? What does this got to do with Dayanos? Apparently what? Abraham was a Dayan. Because God didn't come to Abraham only to visit him. How you doing? God came to Abraham because Abraham was on the Bezdin. As Rashi says, as soon as Abraham stopped providing any Sanegaria, so now it's time to carry out the Psak Din. Abraham was on the Bezdin. The Bezdin of what? Bezdin Hagadol. Regarding what court case? Regarding what to do with Sedai. And they were deliberating. And finally Avraham Avinu said, I give up, you're right.
Who's they? Where were the other Diana?
Him and God.
Wait a minute, don't you need a Bezdin of 23 or 71 when it's the...
Maybe, God had the Malachim Masmeilim was Chus, and the Maiminim, right? The Masmeilim L'chayv, the Maiminim was Chus. But Avraham Avinu was clearly a Dayan. That's otherwise, why is Rashi saying, you sit, I'll stand, and this will be like Dayanis? What does Hashem greeting Abraham on the third day of his Milah got to do with judgment? Abraham was clearly a Dayan. And Rashi even says at the end, when Abraham stopped his Sanegoria, so now it's time to carry out the Psak Din. Because this was a halachic deliberation. Right? Like the Pasuk says, what? Vayeira Hashem kasher kila ledaber al Abraham. What does Rashi say? Vayeira Hashem kivan shenishtatik hasanegar halach lei hadayin. Nistalik hadayin, nistalik hasanegar. Right? When the court case is over, this was a court case. So the Malachim, you know what Gabriel, who destroyed Saddam, you know what he's doing in Abraham's house? He's waiting to get the Psak Din. That's what he's waiting to do in Abraham's house.
Who's the Kateger and who's the Sanegar here?
Well, God did not see any Sanegaria for Sodom. Abraham Avinu was providing the Sanegaria.
Kateger Nasa Sanegar. How could Yaakov then be on the Bezdin when he's being the Sanegar?
No, Kateger Nasa Sanegar he wasn't the Kateger, but his Sanegaria failed. So once the case was over, so we asked, what's Gabriel doing in Abraham's house? Gabriel went to destroy Sodom. He has to get the Psak Din from the Bezdin. Avraham Avinu, that's where the court case took place. The case took place in the Oyel of Abraham. That's what Gabriel's doing.
When? After if Abraham debated with God after the visit of the three Malachim.
No. The Malachim debated. The Malachim visited. Then Hashem spoke to Abraham. After they finished debating, only then the Malachim went to Sodom. That's what the Psukim say.
The visit is the one that is causing this whole...
God didn't visit Abraham to see how he's doing. God visited him for the court case. The court case got interrupted by the Malachim.
So there was no...
Visitation is a...
Din.
So there was no Bikuchol.
Because they don't take visitors.
They did. Who doesn't?
Sodom. So that he was trying to tell them that, just like you take visitors, that whole city doesn't take any visitors.
What are you saying, a noob shot?
That's what he's saying.
No. Where?
Who doesn't take visitors?
Over here.
Where?
He said, Ayin Kli at the end of the first, Ayin Kli Yaakov.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's only bringing out from there a side point. He's bringing look what he says. Without Avram's psak, now, the Kliyakar brings out how that psak din was accomplished. But in any event, God came to Abraham for his opinion, halachic opinion, what should we do with the city of Sodom? And we discussed this Monday, the exact court case and the ramifications of why Avraham Avinu asked for 50 people, right? Why 50?
We didn't discuss it.
No, not here. Monday said, right? The Rogachover says that why did Avraham Avinu ask for 50 tzaddikim? Because in order for a city to be Ir Hanidachas, it needs to have at least 100 residents. So it has 50 tzaddikim. Avraham Avinu was clearing Yalam de Shashayla of Mechza al Mechza, that throughout Shas, we always, Roiv l'chiyuv v'chayiv. Roiv l'schus, schus. But what do you do? Mechza, mechza. So Avinu knew that in Chulin and in many places in Shas, this is a big shayla. So Avinu said this is a good opportunity to ask God what He thinks about the question of mechza, mechza. But anyway, one point that we didn't mention on Monday is that it's very interesting that before Abraham wanted to, not until Abraham finds a zechus for the city of Sodom does Hashem decide to destroy Sodom. How do we understand that? Because we know the Beis Din Hagadol is now to destroy a city if all the Dayanim are unanimous that the city is guilty. So Hashem says, Abraham, what do you think? Abraham says, innocent. God says, okay, now it's guilty. Right?
But if Abraham knew that, he wouldn't have started in. If Abraham knew that,
no, you can't. You gotta.
looking for this chus.
You gotta be honest. You gotta say what you think, right? You can't circumvent the din. Anyway, it's very interesting. So according to Rashi, I point out, Raphael healed Abraham, saved light. Michael was Mavaser, Sarah, and Gabriel destroyed Sodom. But if you notice, Taisus and Bamatzia, and we have on the sheet number 20, Rabbeinu Bechai points out that it wasn't exactly Raphael who healed Abraham and saved light, but rather it was Michael. Rather it was Michael. And Rabbeinu Bechai says, well, Michael's mission of being Mavaser Sarah is also similar to the mission of saving light. I want to end with one question. Right? David Amel says, Esa einay el harim, and we said from Megal Amukas, Esa is Aye, Sarah, Ishteva. I want to talk about that for one moment. The Malachim, and it's brought down on Yeshida 19, the Malachim knew where Sarah was. So why did they ask Abraham?
So she should have stopped it.
So where we go?
He wanted to hear that.
Kedei lechavava
Al-Bala.
Abayla. They wanted to endear Sarah to Abraham. That the Malachim, where is Sarah? And Abraham would say, oh, she's in the tent. And then Abraham would have a chance to show off the milas of his wife. So I have a question for you. If the Malachim are trying to endear Sarah to Abraham, so we should have needed another Malach to do that. Because a Malach can't do two jobs. One Malach healed Abraham. One Malach rescued light. One Malach destroyed Sodom. And we should have another Malach who came to make Shalom Bayis.
Because it was more than a year. It was more than 9 months.
We should have a Shalom Bayis Malach. I thought a Malach can't do more than two jobs.
Wasn't it a job? They were asking a question.
But why were they asking a question? They wanted to create Shalom Bayis.
They got to blend with the...
They needed Shalom Bayis. They needed Shalom Bayis because it was a year from now that he was...
They needed Shalom Bayis to have a kid. Yeah, that's true. But...
Well, they didn't have Shalom Bayis. Abraham and Sarah were arguing all the time.
You know, the answer, plus the answers I once heard, is that to talk in a way that promotes harmony between husband and wife, that's not a job. That's the normal way everyone is supposed to speak. That you talk in a way to endear one spouse to another, that's not supposed to be a job. Oh, that is supposed to be the natural way a person trains himself to talk. That you talk about one spouse to the other in a way that would endear one to the other. So that's not a job. That should be the natural course of speech. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.